Mary sat on the edge of her bed, clutching her phone like it was a lifeline, watching yet another unknown number flash on the screen. These calls weren't random. They had turned into a relentless drip of whispers, cruel laughter, and venomous accusations. Fraud. Liar. You trapped a billionaire. At first, Mary thought it was just neighborhood gossip, but then the rumors got too specific details only someone close could know. And the final blow? That second interview at the fashion house that ended before it even began. The HR rep had avoided her gaze, muttering, "We did a background check," but no one said it outright. Someone was poisoning her reputation, pulling strings to shut her out. She walked home in silence, jaw clenched, heart heavy. You could feel the weight of invisible judgment pressing down like wet cloth, suffocating and cold. At home, her son Precious greeted her with a shy smile, holding up a crayon drawing of 3 stick figures, me, Mom, and Dad. Her throat tightened. She refused to let the poison leak into their bond. Not now. As she tucked him into bed, she whispered out the window, "Why won't she stop?" Karen's war wasn't loud or obvious. It was silent, calculated, and utterly exhausting. Mary hadn't told Charles yet. She didn't want to seem weak or dependent, but deep down, she knew this wouldn't stop on its own. Karen's hunger to destroy anything that didn't revolve around her was insatiable. The worst wasn't losing a job, it was the slow unraveling of safety, the way their peace was being chipped away, thread by thread. Then came the hospital. Precious lay in a pale hospital bed, cheeks flushed unnaturally, fingers twitching beneath the blanket. Mary sat beside him, exhaustion thick in her bones from another sleepless night. Earlier, a new nurse, someone Mary had never seen before, had been fussing over him, eyes darting nervously, hands trembling. When Mary asked about the meds, the nurse brushed her off, saying it was just standard protocol. Hours later, the heart monitor beeped frantically, the room filling with urgent shouts. "He's reacting to something," the doctor yelled. "Check the dosage on his last medication log." Mary stood frozen, her voice cracking. "Did anyone approve a change?" "I didn't." The nurse looked confused. Charles arrived to find Mary pacing the hallway, hair pulled in desperation. "Someone changed his meds," she whispered, "and I don't think it was a mistake." Charles's face hardened. "We need surveillance footage now." The admin hesitated, citing privacy. He snapped, "Do I look like I care?" Back in the room, Precious moaned weakly, "Mommy, why does it feel cold inside?" Mary pressed her forehead against his, tears slipping free. "Because someone tried to hurt you, baby. But we won't let them win." Across the city, Karen sat in her car outside a private clinic, watching a plainclothes nurse walk away with a sealed envelope. She smiled grimly. "One down," she muttered. "Let's see how far a mother's luck runs." 2 days later, Charles walked into what should have been a routine board meeting only to have a thick folder slammed in front of him. "Care to explain this?" barked Mr. Hollis, one of the senior investors. The front page screamed, "Billionaire uses company funds to support secret son and mistress living in slum apartment." Photos of Charles entering Mary's building, visiting the hospital, even sitting beside Precious at an awards night, were scattered across the table. Charles's stomach dropped. "This is slander," he muttered. "No," Hollis said coldly. "This is bad optics. Stockholders are calling. The press is circling. Our quarterly numbers are already weak, and now this." Karen sat at the far end, pretending to review notes, eyes dancing with satisfaction. "Who leaked this?" "Solomon Jr. asked Charles later. "She did," Charles whispered. "I know it." That night, Charles sat alone in his penthouse, city lights blurring behind him. His tablet buzzed another call from Mr. Benson. The media had found Mary's address. Paparazzi swarmed her apartment, neighbors terrified, the building manager threatening eviction. Karen walked in unannounced, feigning concern. "Rough day," she said. Charles looked up, eyes sharp. "You leaked the article, didn't you?" She raised an eyebrow. "Why would I?" "Because you're losing and don't know how to lose." Quiet laughter. "No, Charlie, I don't know how to lose at all." He stood. "Then learn, because I'm not choosing you, and I never will." Her smile twitched, but she recovered. We'll see what you're willing to lose for your precious Mary and that boy. Mary sat on her couch, phone in hand, recording a video. It was day 3 since the hospital incident. The suspicious nurse was still unidentified. No visitors allowed. Precious was sleeping soundly, his cheeks no longer pale. But Mary knew quiet moments came only before the next storm. She checked every label in the cupboard, retrieved a tiny spy camera from a drawer, and screwed it into a light fixture facing the kitchen. "Let's see who tries next," she whispered. Her nerves were frayed, but her resolve was steel. She documented strange texts, strange cars lingering outside, recorded every call. "If anything happens to us," she said to her journal, "someone needs to know." That afternoon, Precious asked, "Mom, are we in danger?" Mary knelt beside him, brushing hair back. "Do you feel safe with me?" He nodded. "Then you're not in danger." "But sometimes," he said, "people don't like when families come back together." Mary froze. "What do you mean?" He pointed. "Like that lady with the red lipstick. She came to the hospital once when you went to get lunch. She told me, 'Daddy doesn't really want us.'" Mary's throat went dry. "What did you say?" "Told her I think she's a liar." She pulled him close, shielding him from more than illness. That evening, Mary messaged Charles, "We need to talk in person. It's time to stop reacting and start fighting." Charles looked at the text, then to Mr. "Benson, prepare everything. Mary's right. It's war now, and I won't lose my family twice." The calm shattered that night when a brick crashed through Mary's living room window. Glass glittered across the floor. Attached was a note, scrawled in red ink. "Take your bastard and leave." Mary's hands trembled as she read it. "It's getting worse," she whispered, dialing Charles. When he arrived, Mary was sweeping glass, her hands nicked and bleeding, eyes burning with silent fury. Charles stared at the note. "This ends tonight," he muttered. Precious clung to his mother, trembling, his fear cutting through Charles like a blade. "You're not staying here another night," Charles said, calling security. Later, they moved to a discreet apartment Charles secured, no names, no trace. Mary protested, bruised pride and all. "I don't want to feel hidden," she said. "You're not hidden," Charles replied softly. "You're protected." That night, Precious curled between them on the couch, voice small. "Will they find us here, too?" Charles kissed his forehead. "Not this time. I won't let them." Mary watched them, wondering how much longer they could keep fighting fires. "I'm not afraid for me anymore," she said quietly. "It's whom I worry about." Charles took her hand, fingers tightening. "Then we fight for him together." The next morning, Karen showed up at the children's ward, balloons and candy in hand, wearing a soft pastel blouse and a rehearsed smile. She approached Precious in the book corner. "You must be Precious," she said sweetly, offering a bright red balloon. Precious looked up, uncertain. "My dad told me about you." Karen laughed lightly. "Oh, I hope he said nice things." He shook his head. "He said you made Mommy cry." Her smile twitched. "Grown-ups make mistakes, sweetheart. I just want to be your friend." Mary returned and froze. "Step away from him," she said firmly, voice echoing. Karen feigned innocence. "I was just saying hello." "Your hells come with poison," Mary snapped. "Don't try this again. Not near my son." Other parents watched. Karen's forced smile cracked. "I'm not the villain you think I am." "Then stop acting like one," Mary replied, pulling Precious close. That night, Charles got word Karen bypassed hospital protocols. The reach unsettled him. Mary pored over hidden camera footage, hours of nothing. Then a figure in a hoodie and wig slipped into the pantry, swapped a spice bottle for an unmarked container, then slipped away. She froze the frame, gasped gold hoop earrings with emerald inlays. Karen's signature. Charles arrived. "She walked into your home," he said, low and lethal. "Try to poison your pantry." Looked into your son's eyes like nothing happened. Mary's eyes shimmered. "This is no longer obsession. It's war," Charles said, dialing Benson. "She meets the law now." Benson was calm, but serious. "This isn't civil anymore, it's criminal. Restraining orders, injunctions, law enforcement." He subpoenaed Karen's bank records transfers to a private nurse, raised red flags. Hospital footage showed Karen in disguise. The chessboard was flipped. Charles called Mary. She won't hurt you again. Not legally, not privately. It's all emotion. Mary whispered, "Thank you for not doubting me." But the war wasn't over. Another anonymous text arrived, a photo of Precious outside their new apartment. "Nice view. He looks happy." The last straw. Mary locked herself in the bathroom, trembling under running water. She didn't want Precious to see her fall apart, but the fear was eating her alive. Charles found her hours later, eyes swollen, voice barely a whisper. "She knows where we are. She's everywhere. She doesn't stop. I don't know how much more I can take." He pulled her close. "You're not alone. She's banking on fear, on wearing you down. But I won't let her win. Not this time." Mary gripped his shirt like it was the only solid thing in her storm. That night, Precious knocked softly on the bathroom door, holding a drawing. "Mommy, I made this for you." 3 stick figures under a bright sun. Charles crouched and hugged his son. "We'll get back to that sun, little man, no matter how long the night lasts." Mary came out steadier, quieter. She'd cried out the weight. Now she was ready to fight. Days later, she found a folded letter beneath Precious's pillow. "Dear Miss Karen," it began, in crooked little lines. "I don't know why you hate us, but Mommy says sometimes people hurt because they're hurt too. I don't want you to hurt us anymore. We are a family, even if you don't want us to be. I love my dad. I love my mom. And love is stronger than your lies." Mary's fingers trembled reading it aloud to Charles. "He never showed this to me. He just wrote it." Charles sat with tears forming. How does he have that kind of heart after everything? Because he didn't grow up around hate. That letter became their turning point. Charles scanned it, pinned the original beside his family photo, a daily reminder that no matter how powerful Karen thought she was, there was one thing she couldn't touch: love rooted in truth. The gala at the Grand Orchid Hotel was supposed to be a calm night, but Karen arrived in a fire-red gown, eyes sharp, energy manic. When a journalist asked, "Is it true, mister? Solomon has a son from a previous relationship," something in Karen cracked. Her bitter laugh echoed. "Do you think I'd be with a man hiding a child from a woman in the ghetto?" Cameras clicked, gasps echoed. Within hours, footage leaked, unedited, raw, showing every cruel word, every empty laugh. Social media erupted. Sponsors fled. Karen raged alone in her penthouse, slamming purses, ripping cords. The internet had archived her undoing. Charles faced the cameras. No press manager, no scripts. "I won't take questions," he said steady. "But I owe you the truth. 11 years ago, I made a mistake I didn't know I made. That mistake gave me a son, a brave, kind-hearted boy named Precious. I won't apologize for loving him. They are my family, and I'm proud of them." The crowd quieted. Support flooded in. Even skeptics shifted. Karen, isolated and defeated, whispered to herself, "You think love wins? We'll see how long your fairy tale lasts when the boy isn't so healthy anymore." But Precious was more than his health. At Poetry Day, dressed sharp, clutching his poem, he stood in the spotlight. "This one's for my family," he said, voice trembling. Midway through, his hand shook, words slurred. He collapsed. At the hospital, doctors explained his arrhythmia was worsening from stress and emotional triggers. Any future collapse could be fatal. Mary gasped. Charles punched a wall in frustration. Mary whispered, "She did this." Charles didn't argue, he just looked at his son. Too still, too fragile. Weeks later, Charles stood before a courthouse, restraining order in hand. The law was finally catching up. Karen's manipulations had turned violent and dangerous. When she got the restraining order, she laughed maniacally, furious, desperate, but it was no longer love. It was war she couldn't win. Slowly, Mary found her footing. A part-time job designing dresses, a fresh start. Charles didn't push. He offered rides, steady support. "I'm not here to be leaned on," Mary said. "I want to walk beside you." "No more pity," Charles replied. "Just support." Karen kept trying hospital sabotage, threats, but the law tightened its net. Finally, Karen was caught, arrested quietly, but with cameras rolling. She screamed her innocence, but the evidence was clear. Mary told Precious, "We're safe now." And for the first time in years, they began to rebuild. A new apartment, soft walls, warm light, candles lit by the window, prayers whispered for peace. Sundays filled with pancakes, laughter, and dreams. Precious changed his last name to Solomon not for his father, but for their family. At the fashion showcase, Mary's designs dazzled, inspired by resilience. Charles and Mary shared quiet moments on their balcony, knowing peace isn't loud, it whispers. The courtroom finally sentenced Karen to 15 years. Mary held Precious close, whispering, "We walk with grace, not grudges." Charles nodded. Let them see who truly won. This story didn't end in grandeur, it ended in peace, resilience, and the unbreakable power of love. Now, I want to hear from you. Where do you draw the line between love and obsession? When does fighting back become the only way to protect what matters? Share your thoughts below. Let's talk about justice, forgiveness, and how far a family will go to survive.